This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hello again. Welcome to show 164 of Aussie Mac Zone. I'm lucky enough to have Garth with me again. Awesome to have you here, my friend.
Hello, Michael. How are you today?
Yeah, great. Thanks, mate. Now we're going to try and
I
put
should
the...
have said.
You going?
No, you're right. No, we're going to try for Facebook. So
No, I'm not doing Facebook. I'm straight into the ad for ATH web hosting, Australian servers, affordable and competitive plan, domain registration, 24/7 ticket support, $5.95 per month when paid annually, just to look after us. So,
absolutely. And like we often say, get your domains. Have an idea and go and find a domain.
yeah.
It is unfortunately a little bit addictive once you start shopping for a domain. I am not talking from experience at all, but once you start having ideas, just
Yes.
and you can get those straight through athwebhosting.com.au.
Yeah. Apple event Friday our time. Apple has finally sent out invitations for an event on Thursday morning US time. What does the invitation mean? Hello again with a disappearing Apple logo. And the event will be live streamed, of course. So, Garth, my friend, you're really clever. What does the hello again with a disappearing Apple? Is Apple going, is it?
I don't know. What's the disappearing Apple about? Who knows? The hello again obviously is a reference to previous major events in launching of Mac products.
Yeah.
You'll remember you probably will remember actually. Were you there? First Mac was taken out of the bag. It was in a backpack or something, wasn't it? A bag, and they opened it up and it spoke and said, it sure is nice to get out of that bag.
Special little carry bag that they had for that model Mac. I had one of them too. Yeah.
They do. There you go. See, told you. But they're disappearing Apple. Can we get all?
Or is it as simple? Is it as simple? Hello again as being. Oh, we weren't expecting to actually be back in this environment, but the new place isn't finished, so we're just saying hello again in this shed.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a bit. Actually, it's funny you should say that. Surely they would have. Okay, let me start that again. It indicates to me that you would have had. I'm not sure what I'm saying. I had an expectation that at the time when Tim Cook said this is probably our last time here, they would have a pretty good idea of the timeline this far ahead, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Why say that then? Obviously they thought they would be in the new campus, or they didn't expect to have the Mac event, or they were planning to have the Mac event at some other time. It seems that it indicates something has changed between now and then. And I have always had in my head that Apple would have their timeline a bit more sorted out than that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not I'm trying to say there really poorly.
No, well, it's hard to know. Like something might have changed. It's just one of those things, isn't it? You never know until it's actually here. And
Tim Cook changed his mind about the colour of tiles in that room, so they couldn't get the tiles done in time.
That's right. Yes, could be as simple as that. Or Johnny, it wasn't the right white.
No, it was slightly too blue.
Yeah. And what about the next
one?
What
are we going to... next one?
Yeah. Apple lawsuit reveals most charges sold on Amazon are fake. And dare I say, on eBay, especially in Australia, I've actually had an older associate of mine ring me up and say, "Oh, did you buy any charges from this particular place on eBay? Because we've just gone down and raided them and bought all their stock back. None of it's real. It's got Apple logo and everything on it, but it's not Apple and never been tested in Australia, of course." So yeah.
The interesting part for this story for me is eBay. I expect it to be BS. Expect it to be fake and rubbish and just some kind of knockoff thing. The interesting part for this one with this one for me was the fact that this is stuff that's shipped and sold through Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, they've done the delivery stuff, and you sort of had the assumption that they've done some checking on that. Obviously, they're still just acting as a reseller; they're just doing the shipping part of it. But yeah, that 90% of it is false, is rubbish.
Yeah.
On Amazon, they it was being advertised as genuine Apple product. You would think their quality control would be a little bit better than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd think so. If they're putting their name to it, as in fulfilled by Amazon, which...
Correct.
So, yeah.
That said, I bought a pair of Apple AirPods through there not long ago, just to try. I only got the one pair because they weren't super cheap, but they were quite a bit cheaper. Because they're quite like $45, I think, through the Apple store here, and I got them for $20. And
but whether or not Apple ones,
I do not know, but they have. If they're not Apple, then they sound the same, they work the same, they have exactly the same packaging. A pretty good representation, let's put it that way. The difference is, of course, with a set of AirPods, what's going to happen? It's going to sound like crap, or it's not going to work very well. With a charger, you're in a different kettle of fish with a charger where, you could have some kind of electrical issue.
Yes, it's been known to happen already on several occasions.
Exactly.
And if they were the latest EarPods that have the lightning connector, so the hassle is buying non-Apple branded. It's only got to be a fraction thicker, and the charger will never work properly again, your Apple one. That's the challenge that I've had previously with cheap cables. Not only they don't last anywhere near as long as the Apple ones, they actually can stop your Apple ones working properly. So just be aware of that.
Because they damage the port itself.
Yeah, they just make it, they're only going to be a fraction too thick, and then the springiness of the Apple gold contacts doesn't quite work as well. So So just
the ones I had were just your analog ones, so they were fine, but
they won't work in your new phone, but will they?
No, but I don't have a new phone, Michael. This is the thing. You're the lucky one getting a 7, not me.
Yeah, when I get around to it.
Come on.
So, what about the App Store now makes more money from China than the US? It's reported by Colton Mac. Apple just set an all-new record for the most App Store revenue brought in from one country in a quarter. Only instead of the United States taking the top spot, China is now Apple's most profitable market for apps. Check this out. China accounted for $1.7 billion in total iOS revenue. That's just iOS revenue during Q3 16. So that's not bad, is it?
It's amazing, actually. Yeah. I wonder how much they've made there in hardware sales. Like, I'd say it would be significantly more still, but that is really becoming a major component.
Yeah, and games now make up 75% of App Store revenue. Entertainment and social network apps are starting to make huge leaps though. So, yeah, video streaming apps are also taking off in China. So yeah, but that's a lot of money from one country for a quarter.
It is, yeah, a lot of money.
Even if they were $3 an app.
But the funny thing is that's only a portion of what they'd be making in hardware there, I reckon.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah, because they're making. You might buy 10 apps for your phone, but you've already bought your phone, haven't you? So.
Yeah, but the margin on the phone is still, like, their revenue from hardware is still so much higher than their revenue.
Yeah, but the advantage is it's ongoing revenue, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's not.
Well, so is the phone.
Yeah.
You don't keep it forever. My son will testify to that. He's broken his again. I might have to be in the market for a new phone at some time very soon. Or find a really refurbished one. He doesn't need another. Yeah. Anybody out there? You got a cheap old iPhone 5S or something like that? I can get cheap. I'll Give me a yell.
So now IBM says, and I'm sure we've done this story, but it's even been affirmed even more now. But IBM says Macs are up to $543 less expensive than PCs over time. This is reported by Mac Rumors at the JAMF Nation User Conference yesterday, designed for IT management professionals. IBM Vice President of Workplace as a Service, Fletcher Previn, talked about IBM's decision to start letting employees choose between Windows or Mac, and the cost of PCs versus Macs, and the resulting changes to the company. So there were assumptions. They've deployed about 30,000 Macs, and they're still doing more and more. And there were assumptions early on that Macs would be significantly more expensive than PCs, but over the last year, IBM has found that it's actually PCs that are more expensive. So over a 4-year lifespan, Previn says IBM saves up to $543 per Mac compared to a PC. And a lot of that is actually the resale value of the machine, apparently.
I wonder if that, I mean, at my workplace, obviously it's all Windows, but they're all leased machines.
Yeah.
And, just recently had to have my current leased machine go back to wherever we leased it from and get a new one, and went through all the lovely fun times of getting the new one set back up and all, getting it back to the way you kind of like you wanted it. So I wonder if the lease market is there, if it's a cost savings in that respect as well. I remember we did the story about 12 months ago, probably from a similar conference. The main area there where it was cheaper for them was the last time we did that story, it was in the support costs.
Yeah.
The number of, support staff they needed to support X number of machines was so much fewer with Macs than it was with Windows. So here's a similar story, but again, another reason why it's cheaper for them to, in the long run, go with Macs.
Yeah, it certainly adds up over time. That's the challenge, is whether you've got the money to buy it in the first place, and then enjoy the continued excellent working of most Macs.
Well, that's the thing. Do you know if Apple themselves, or if there's third-party companies in Australia that do corporate leasing schemes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's at least 4 that I can think of that
There you
do
go.
it. Yeah. Oh, massive. Like the school that I'm involved with, they're about to get some new machines prepared for next year. So it takes a little while just to set them up and get it all sorted. But that's, that's a school, and we're talking probably 150 machines. I think it might be more than that. That they will lease for 2 or 3 years. And they choose who gives them the best deal for financing for that out of several different suppliers. So yeah, there you go. Well, I'll have to forward this article on to my IT people. I don't think they will listen, but I'll get it printed in an A4 poster, and you can put it on their front door.
There you go. Absolutely. I'll stick it on the desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, read this.
We'll just get a denial of service attack and just keep dumping that as one email to the manager.
There you go. Look at you do the old translation to the next story, eh? And if it wasn't the next story, it is now.
Yes, yeah. So we had a bit of a challenge on the weekend, our time, with the Mirai based DDoS attack highlights benefits of Apple's secure HomeKit platform. And a distributed denial of service attack that on Friday severely impacted internet access for many US web denizens was found to be in part enabled by a botnet targeting unprotected Internet of Things devices, and even security camera systems that are connected to the net. And this is the second time. This one was really big because it targeted Twitter and was it Yahoo and someone else.
Netflix was impacted.
Yeah.
Twitter was impacted. Netflix, a whole heap of people that use a particular back end. Who was it?
Yeah.
Bins or something like that. I can't remember the name. But they were the ones who were targeted, and a number of major services and internet domains were hosted there, and used the service.
So one of the things I do know about this story is people need to change the password on their router from the standard password. Now,
admin is fine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's admin password, admin pass. They're just the standard ones. You've only got to change it to password 1 and you make it 1,000 times harder to get through your router, but
Well, that's the thing. You change it to password 1 and so many of the automatic, there's so much stuff out there, there's so many open ones that they don't even need to worry about trying to crack that one.
That's right.
It's an answer to the password.
Yeah.
So, but no, change it to something better than password 1. Still.
No, and it's not that hard to do. I promise you, it's not that hard to do.
Especially on a Mac where you can just let Keychain remember it for you.
Yeah. Once you've set it, there it is. So, that stops amazing amount of just things like your webcam or your Belkin Wi-Fi switch, that sort of thing, being used for denial of service attacks. It's amazing how little processor power they need when there's thousands and thousands of machines pumping it away.
Well, that's the thing. They don't need any power. Like you said, there's very minimal processor required. All they need to do is make a request. And any Internet of Things device can make a request because that's the whole point. They're connected to the internet. All they have to be able to do is be pointed at a domain and say, "Can you just check in here and make a request to that site?" And away they go.
Away they go. That's right.
And that's completely within the realm of any of this stuff.
So, please change the password on your router, and you might be amazed at whether you might even get a speed increase if you're being used for other things in the background that you're not aware of. You may get a speed increase. So, iPhone 7 dominates Q3 sales despite limited availability. Culture Mac reports, even though iPhone 7 was only on sale for 2 weeks during quarter 3, it accounted for more than 40% of all iPhone sales in the United States. Even though the iPhone 7 Plus has the most new features, users still prefer smaller sizes, and the iPhone 7 was the most popular of the 2 new models. Maybe that was to do with supply as well, grabbing 31% of sales. Meanwhile, iPhone 7 took 12%, and the old SE also performed well with nearly 10% of sales.
Okay, sorry, those numbers again. 30% for the 7, 10% was it for the 7 Plus?
I'll go back to the...
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So, the iPhone 7 was the most popular of the 2 models, grabbing 31%. The iPhone 7 Plus took 12%, and the SE was 10%.
And then the rest of the percentage made up by other...
Yeah, and 36% were upgrading from an iPhone 6 or a 6 Plus.
Yeah. Interesting. So even now, so not between 2 and 3 times more popular, the smaller screen size.
Yeah.
And like you said, the SE, which is still basically a 6 Plus, a 6S, I should say, 6S in the form factor of the 5.
Yeah.
So very nice little phone to have. Grabbing 10%, so almost as popular as the 7 Plus. Well, that said, the 7 Plus had 2 weeks on the market while the SE had 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of difference there.
And we know there was supply constraints on the 7 Plus for a start. So
Yeah.
but
So
still,
maybe without those constraints, we might have got up to 15% versus 30.
yeah.
Something like that, maybe. Yeah.
So that's not bad.
Oh no, 2 weeks and it sells up. Yeah. But like they say in the article, it's probably partially due to the slow sales beforehand, because everyone
As
is
well,
starting.
yes,
After all these years, people are starting to realise that there's a new phone coming out in September. Maybe August is not the best time to buy a new iPhone.
Yeah.
It might be slowly sinking into the general population. We've known all of that for years, but maybe people are realising this finally.
Slow and steady. That's right. So easy come, easy go. I thought I'd chuck that in because reported by iClarified, 7 thieves walk into Apple Store, steal 13,000 worth of iPhones. So on Wednesday evening last, a group of 7 individuals made up of males and females entered the mall store and went directly to the Apple Store. The individuals, while clad in hoodies and or hats to shield their identity, surrounded the area of the store where the iPhones are on display. In orchestrated fashion, these individuals cut the security cords and exited the store with 19 phones. Apple placed a value of 13,000. The group fled easterly on foot, and despite an extensive search, was not located. So, what do you reckon?
What I reckon is what I think is interesting here is the change that Apple have made in some of the newer stores and rolling out slowly to some of the mall type stores is getting rid of those constraints, those cables.
Anyway,
Yeah, and in that case, the thieves would have been worse off if they had got rid of the cables. Once they get out of the door with handsets that haven't got a cable, they don't work anymore, do they?
No, that's right.
Turn into a brick.
So that might still happen anyway, just that they happen to be still tethered, but not have the updated, or they were tethered before they got the updated software. So maybe they might still be bricks anyway, you're saying? And they're bricks anyway. They can only be used for spare parts anyway.
Yeah, even at the moment?
Yeah, because
there's no way of getting through the activate.
Apple would know what the serial number is and the IMEI code and would just stop them from working forever. It's the same as, there's you leave find my phone on, that's bricked. There's nothing you can do.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but not nice. At least no one got hurt.
No. No, well, this is true, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This
wasn't in Australia, was it?
No, that was in the States.
Yeah.
Just the manager's feelings probably got hurt a bit. So, so just an off to the side story. Johnny Ive and Mark Newson to design a Christmas tree for the holidays at famous London hotel. Every year, London's famous Claridge's Hotel kicks off its holiday season with a decorative showstopper Christmas tree in the foyer. And as you might have mentioned, the 5-star hotel in Mayfair goes far beyond what most people imagine as a Christmas tree. So last year, they unveiled a gold and silver tree composed of 100 umbrellas and 70,000 lights. And 2014, that was by Burberry, and 2014 was a more traditional tree designed by Dolce and Gabbana. So for the first time, Johnny Ive will be taking up the post and imagining his own blockbuster Christmas tree in cooperation with Mark Newson, which is a friend of his from Apple anyway. So, that's something different.
It is certainly a different story, and despite myself, I am really interested to see what he chooses.
Well, it's amazing how good that one made up of umbrellas looked. As you're going through the story.
Gold and silver umbrellas,
Yeah, just and it's it's like 3 stories high. All these umbrellas to make a tree.
Wow, it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I wonder what he'll choose. So what are we going with?
That's
I
right.
can't help feeling there'll be lots of glass involved.
And will it be white? Well, it's a white Christmas, I suppose.
Yeah. No, frosted white glass. There you go. That's
Yeah.
my prediction. With colour, with lights that
Yeah. With Find My Tree turned on, so no one pinches it.
Find my light tree. Yeah. My eye tree.
Yes, my eye tree. That's right.
Yeah.
So don't forget that we have. I just got to do that. Turn that on. Yeah. No, it's not coming on. Sorry. Amazing. These things stop working in the middle. Yeah, not that one. That one, mate. No. They've both got the same picture now. Sorry, everyone. Yeah. Crazy. Anyway, don't forget that we've got Aussie Tech Radio at aussietechradio.com. We've got the Aussie Tech Security Podcast, and we've got Aussie Tech Heads Podcast with always interesting little stories there and getting a different perspective on the other side of the world, or Windows or whatever that stuff's called, you know, so Android as well.
Android, Schmindos.
Yeah. So don't forget, when you're in Spotlight, well, you can go with this one. This is one of yours, my friend. I don't mean to take it off you. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. A quick one. So if you search things, so we're in our little how-to stories for a second here.
Yeah.
And as usual, I love the keyboard cuts. It's my thing, right? So use your command space. Obviously, we're all pretty familiar with that one to bring up Spotlight.
Yeah.
And say you started searching for something and you thought, hang on, no, I actually want to search this on the web instead. Rather than jumping out of that and going over to Safari, if you just hit Command B for browser, it'll make that same search that you did in Spotlight happen in Safari. So you'll restrict your search basically. As you do, you know, even in Spotlight, there's web searching happening there.
Yeah.
So basically what it does is restrict your search to Safari, to browser only.
All right. So do I do?
So do your command space to bring up Spotlight.
Yeah. Start
So
typing in PT Cruiser doors.
And now just go Command B.
Instead of return.
Instead of, well, even afterwards, I think. I haven't tried that, but yeah.
I'll have to have a look. Yep. No, that's cool. Yeah. Just those things you think, oh, I've got to read through. Oh, that's the one I wanted on the web anyway. So boom.
Yeah. So if you want to restrict your Spotlight search basically to the browser, to Safari, it throws it across to. Let me just quickly. So testing, and it's. Yeah, I didn't even.
You just go Command B and it just does the browser part. Yep.
I was going Command B. I didn't even hit enter because I never hit enter on Spotlight. I always just start arrowing down after I started typing.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And
and it threw me straight into Safari.
And saying that, you can also remember to arrow down and it'll start listing. You can go through the list instead of just hitting return, which will open it, or Command O to open, or. Yeah.
That's why you threw me a bit with the command with the return, because I don't actually do that. I'd arrow down and hit return on the one I want.
Yeah, usually it brings up what I want, and then I just, when you're opening apps, for example, they don't have to be in the dock. There's some that I don't have in the dock. Command O, type it in. Sorry, Command space, type it in. Command O, bang.
There you go. So with that one, you know what I do? I Command space. Start typing the first few letters, and there's some apps that I always open like that.
Yeah.
So Spotlight will always present it as the first option.
Yeah.
So I don't even wait for it to finish. I just go, and now that you say that, I do use enter, because I'll always just type in MESS for messages.
Yeah.
MESS return, and I'm in messages. I don't wait for it.
And that's an awesome thing to remember too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Spotlight is, I think, for a lot of people, really underutilized. And when you have to take your hand off and go up and click it in this thing, and you can't be bothered. But if you just go Command space and enter, it's sweet as.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely makes a difference. Definitely. Did you know or remember you can use your iMac as a display with target display mode? So target display mode lets you use the built-in display on a supported iMac as an external display for another Mac, whether it's another iMac or whether it's your MacBook Pro, for example. iMac you can use as a display of the 27-inch late 2009, 27-inch mid 2010, iMac mid 2011, iMac mid 2012 to 2014. But note that the Retina 5K and the 27-inch late 2014 and later, they don't use display mode at all, unfortunately. They took that out for some reason. So yeah, and it's just handy because you might be rendering something. So you're just working on your MacBook Pro, boom, get up, start rendering, and then take it off using the big display to start the rendering and make sure everything looks all right, and then go back to using your iMac while it just does the rendering on the MacBook Pro, for example, but you've used the big screen just to make sure it's all right before you go, just as an example. Yeah.
Check it looks fine, yeah.
Yeah. And then you also reminded that about using remote disk. Go for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that story of yours and reminded me of another feature, which is remote disk. So if you jump into Finder, and I usually go Command Shift C to jump into the computer view.
Yep.
And with your hard drive and so forth. You'll see a little option in there called remote disk. And for a long time I looked at it and thought, what the heck is that? And found out, of course, that it allows you to use the optical drive on another Mac that you have in the network.
Yeah.
So let's say you've got a Mac Mini or an old Mac Mini with a disk drive, or an old Mac Pro or something like that that's got an optical drive. And like a lot of us now, we don't have any optical drives in my MacBook Air, so I don't have one. The remote disk, use that, and it will basically allow you to use the optical drive on another Mac on the same network as though it's on your current Mac.
And it works really quick too. It's surprising how quick it does work.
I know, it is, isn't it? I guess the bottleneck there is the optical drive itself. Most networks these days is are a lot quicker than
but
optical drives.
Yeah.
So really handy little feature.
Yeah, and you just go into on the machine with the optical. You just go into System Preferences, Sharing, and then enable sharing the optical drive. And where we first had to start using that, for example, with people with MacBook Airs, was installing Microsoft Office, which was still back then was available on DVD before they had Office 365. That was one of the first, and I think also I used it for installing the iWork group as well. That came on CDs, so you had to use the CD to install it, and away we went, and it works really well.
I don't remember having to enable it in System Preferences, so that's a good tip there. I don't know whether it was already on or what the defaults are, but I don't remember having to do that. So that's where you find it if it's not working off right off the bat.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it also will ask, it'll ask the machine's owner if it's all right if that disk is being shared. So you can't start looking at things that the other operator on the machine with the DVD drive isn't expecting. It actually asks whether you can use it or not.
Yeah.
Yep. So, also I mentioned last week I had an Apple Watch issue, and after a couple of days, and they said it might be up to 2 weeks before I can get my watch back, so I was fretting the whole time. But after a couple of days, Apple rang to say that they had an exchange watch for me, and it came in a really nice white square box, about the same size as the original ones, but only about 12 mil thick, not the 50 mil thick that some of the original ones came in. And just the watch all nicely packaged with the Apple logo indented on the box and everything. And remember, it's only a spare part. It's just come out of the spare parts shop, not out of the retail shop. That's the difference, I suppose. Hello, he's gone away on me. He's done a runner. I should have put you on the screen then.
I couldn't find it.
So it was just a nice little white box. Yeah.
Little square, narrow box, that's how mine came. Just the watch by itself is all about all it fits in.
But yeah, spare parts. That's from the spare parts section, you know.
Yeah.
So there we go.
I think that's us for the night. Oh, that's the other one quick little story I wanted to throw in there was around Sonos now being available through the Apple Store.
Yeah, sorry, I nearly missed that on you.
Yeah, no, that's all good. And I think there's the small one in there for like $300, $295 or $299, or the larger Play Sonos speaker for over $700. The one advantage you get in taking it through Apple is that you get a 3-month subscription, of course, to
Apple Music.
So I think even, if you've already used that previously, you should be able to use it again. Do you think on that one? I don't know.
Yeah, don't know. But they one of the podcasts I was listening to on the weekend was talking about Sonos just sort of slowly gets into your life, because you go, oh, okay, I need a new speaker. What'll I get? I'll get a Sonos and put it in the bedroom, and then I'll get a Sonos and put it out on the back veranda, and all of a sudden, after a couple of years, because they're not cheap, just over a couple of years, you might end up with 3 or 4 of them scattered around the house. Isn't it? Yeah.
It's a bit like that iPod Shuffle I got given at work, isn't it? Now look at me, jeez.
Yes, simple as that. Come in, spinner. So yeah, that's it for me. That's it for you.
And me. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Right. Good night.